Hey, what is going on? Welcome into the A Sea of Red Liberty basketball show, previewing the start of the season. My name is Nick Kirby. I'm joined with my pal, Will Matthews. We started a podcast last season, and for some strange reason, A Sea of Red has decided to let us hijack their show for the basketball season. Will, tell the folks at home. We got a big guest coming here in just a second. Tell the folks at home who may not know you a little bit about yourself and how you became a Liberty fan.
Yeah, man. So I started the @DidLibertyWin account back in, I think, like 2014 or something like that. So a long time ago, kind of before Liberty Twitter blew up like it has now. But I was a student at Liberty from 2003 to 2007. 03, of course, as a freshman, we had that magical run in the Big South Conference with some great players, including the GOAT, Larry Blair. Just been a big fan of Liberty basketball. Of course, growing up in North Carolina, basketball is a big deal. During school, during the ACC tournament, we don't have school. We watch college basketball. And so as a student, I was thinking, man, all my friends are at, NC State and Chapel Hill and East Carolina and Appalachian State, and they're pulling for their teams. And so, you know what? I grew up as a Carolina fan, and I said, I'm going to put away these childish things. And I'm going to root for the school that I go to, that I have connections to, where I'm a proud alumni. And so I'm all Liberty all day.
Absolutely. And a little bit about myself real quick is I started going to Liberty in 2006, did like the 10-year program to finish, but instantly, as soon as I got on campus, I fell in love with the basketball team, and I've been following ever since. I am up in Cleveland, Ohio, so I'm quite a ways away from Liberty, but this has been an awesome way for me to stay connected. And me and Will, we were friends in college, and to be honest, a lot of my good friends from college, we haven't been able to stay in touch, just, the distance and all that, but Liberty basketball has been the one thing that has kept me and Will good friends. So we are really excited about the season. Can't wait. Less than 24 hours away, man. That just sounds so good. We're excited about tonight's show. We've got so many insane guests. I can't believe half these guys actually agreed to come on. I see some already in, so I guess it's actually happening. But let's go and get this show going. We're going to kick off the night. We got this just a few minutes before Joe Bledsoe and all of Flames Creative let us play this hype video, and it is incredible to get you guys ready for the season. And as soon as the video's over, we'll have head coach Ritchie McKay.
Everybody wants the mountaintop, not the climb. They want what history looks like, but not what it takes to get there.
And it's up to the races for Company. Here's Baxter-Bell for three. Exclamation point. And it's over. And Liberty wins its third straight ASUN title. The Liberty Flames reign atop the ASUN continues.
The work, the grind, what you do every day is more important than what you do every once in a while.
Nice job. One more. Here we go.
Culture isn't something you inherit. You have to build it. Standing on the shoulders of those who came before us, who laid the bricks, built the foundation. Our history has led us to our present, a program familiar with success, but built on love. Playing out of gratitude for our brothers beside us. We've been chasing our standards. We've been building for this moment. To embrace what it takes to make it to our mountaintop. Becoming the best version of us.
Open beyond the arc. There is no stopping Darius McKay.
Lorensen goes up, ducks it with the right hand.
Wow, man, everyone at Flames Creative, they do some great work. Head coach Ritchie McKay taking some time to join us less than 24 hours to the start of the season. How you doing?
I'm a lot better after that video, fellas. Man, that was high major. That's Liberty's creative team. Those guys and gals are absolutely sensational. They're elite. We're really blessed to have them. Joe Bledsoe did that. Jacob Webb. There's so many that are so skilled in that department. It just brands our program nationally. And I'm not just talking about men's basketball. I'm talking about Liberty Athletics and our sports team. So shout out to those guys. They really bring things alive.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what is life like for a coach less than 24 hours before the start of the season? You've spent all summer, trying to get your team ready and prepared. What is this like feeling here? Is it like nerves? Is it what is it at this point?
Honestly, Nick, I'm just trying to distract myself right now. I watched from kickoff to finish the football team go into Arkansas and get that dub, and then I watch Nikki's field hockey team win the Big East championship, and now I'm watching Malik Willis and the Tennessee Titans. So anything I can do to distract myself. Watched a little bit of Regent, and really excited to get it started tomorrow.
Coach, I'm glad you brought up football because I'm still like in football mode a little bit. And that hype video just got me transitioned to basketball season really quickly. But, watching the success of the football program and like just all the programs at Liberty, what does that do for your program? Like, do you feel like this pressure to like keep building Liberty up to the next level, or, how do you see all of that having an impact on the basketball program?
Yeah, well, honestly, it is really exciting to be a part of. And I know we as fans want us to win every game. We coaches want to win every game too. But the success that our different teams have had it's really been unprecedented. Ian McCall, our athletic director, who arguably is the best in the country, he says that we're in our golden years of Liberty Athletics. I really believe that's true. So I think field hockey going to a national championship, Dot and Scott qualifying both of their teams for the NCAA tournament. Coach Green's got, I think, like 18 different conference championship banners in there. Like you almost feel the pressure as a coaching staff. Like we gotta live up to what everybody else is doing, because otherwise, we might not be invited to the picnic or the barbecue. But I do think it, especially football, because it's so visible. I do think it really helps brand our program, and I think it gives a positivity to Liberty University that we all know and appreciate. I think for those that hear other things about Liberty and haven't experienced it, I just think a successful program or programs lends an opportunity for people to maybe come taste and see what we get to experience.
Well, yeah, don't sell yourself too short. I believe you've beat 5 SEC schools since you've come back. So welcome to the SEC football winning club, Liberty Football. But yeah, what a great time to be a Liberty fan. Coach, gonna ask you my one nerd question. This is all I'll do, I promise. So last year you won 22 games, another great year. Elite shooting numbers through the roof. It seemed like maybe the one thing that held the team back last year was the turnover rate was significantly down from some of the best seasons that you've had. Do you feel like that's fair? And is that something that was maybe a big point of emphasis this offseason?
So, Nick, that's not a nerd question. And I know how closely you follow it. As a matter of fact, you guys, thank you for just doing this. I think it marks how far our program has come, because, I mean, you guys talk about Liberty basketball on a regular basis. Your critique is absolutely correct. When Drake Dobbs decided to transfer, we really had to adjust, and it was on the fly, because after the LSU game, we turned it over so much that game. And then we went right from there to Orlando and turned it over against Manhattan the second night of a 2-game series. And that boy, that sent us going the wrong direction. So we moved Darius to a little bit more of a primary playmaker, and Kyle Rode had to play out of position, and we were off just by about a half a position. Now our guys, because of their character, they reeled it in, Nick, but I do think the turnover rate was a little bit abnormal for us, and certainly it's been a point of emphasis. We've also addressed it in recruiting, and I think just having a team that's a little older, I think will be a little improved in that area.
Yeah, you guys had a big leap from 2018 to 2019. I noticed in turnover rate. Is that and pretty much the same personnel? It looked like. Is that just what you're talking about with the experience?
Yeah, I think our system lends for taking care of the basketball. It's part of our emphasis. But again, I do think Darius being a primary playmaker and point guard, it was really hard on him. He ran out of gas a little bit. I probably played him a little too much, but that was our best option. And when you and Darius is willing to do whatever it takes for the team to win the game. So I think we'll be improved. I kind of stay away from comparing teams to yesteryears, although I love seeing that video and all those guys. PJ Preston narrated, all those guys that have gone before the guys we have now. They have Ryan Kimwright, Anthony Fields, there's John Dawson, Anthony Smith, those others that really didn't get a chance to cut nets and experience what these guys have, but we're so grateful and appreciative for what they've done for our program.
Coach, when I was a kid, I wanted to grow up and be Hulk Hogan and like rip my shirt off and flex my muscles. And I don't do all that stuff, but it's pretty cool now because, my 10-year-old will go outside and play basketball. And he's like, I'm Scotty James or I'm Darius McGee. And it's like pretty cool to like see him emulating these guys. And like, these guys are like his like sports icons and sports heroes. Can you talk about a little bit like, what you're looking for when you're recruiting some of these guys? I mean, they make great role models. And also, like when you're looking to build a coaching staff, like, is that something that you're looking at as former players or does it just happen to be that they fit what you're looking for?
Yeah, great questions, Willie. I love the fact that your 10-year-old out in the driveway. Now, are you shirt on or shirt off? Like you said, Hulk Hogan. Don't answer that. But those are great guys to emulate. Honestly, I think it's the best thing about Liberty, the people. And if you're intentional about it, I think our place attracts a really conscientious young man that wants to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And we've seen that reflected in our program and the people that God has brought to us. So yes, we're intentional about it. We vet our prospects really hard. They don't have to be perfect because none of us live in that space. But I do want them to be pursuant of we tell them up front what our university is about, its mission, what it's like to come to a practice or be a part of a film room session, what have you. And then there's convocation and there's campus community, there's Bible studies. Like we peel back the layer and show them everything. Because honestly, if someone doesn't want that, we get it and we kind of end that process. So it filters maybe some guys that weren't the right fit for our place in such a way that I think what we end up having is really a family. And the guys that you mentioned certainly reflect that. And I think it's true in our coaching staff. When I worked for Tony Bennett, Dick Bennett, his dad was a mentor of mine. And they had these pillars that they really held true to, not only as foundational parts of their program, but an intentionality to model them. And so we've done some of that same stuff. So I want people around me that I want to work with, that I want to see every day, that have the humility, the character, and the commitment to really invest in someone else's life. And I think those men that I've been fortunate enough, men and women, to work with, man, the neatest thing, Nick and Will, is that they really hold true to honoring whom we've been given to steward or shepherd in this next chapter of their stories.
All right. You obviously have a very experienced team coming back. One of the most impressive things I've thought about Liberty the last couple of years is how well you've done retaining players, which is incredibly hard in today's college basketball. But tell us about the freshmen coming in, and I know you're not going to want to put expectations on anyone, but what are you kind of looking for early in the season?
Nick, you've heard me speak too much because you're already answering the questions. Yeah, let me talk for 1 second about the retention piece. Like, that's Liberty. Like, just again, I want you to the magnitude of Darius McGee coming back to Liberty when he could have gone to play professionally. He could have gotten oodles of money in the NIL space with different teams and programs around the country. And instead, he came back to Liberty. He didn't ask for a thing. And I think it speaks to the character of his teammates and his experience. And I think the guys that we have that are freshmen, J.C. Schreier that came in from Texas, who's going to redshirt. I'll give you this news now. Ben Sutherland is going to redshirt. He's from Cincinnati. He's gonna be a terrific player. Really love him. And then the two freshmen that will play, Colin Porter and Zach Cleveland, both were guys that we worked really hard to get. But I think you're going to be surprised at how ready they are to play, because although we thought they would be good when we evaluated them, when you have so many guys coming back, there's not Keegan McDowell really is the only guy that played significant minutes who we lost, and there's just not a lot of minutes to be had. But man, those two, they're going to be factors in the lineup. Really, they really add some value to our team immediately.
Coach, I was in the grocery store yesterday and I was picking up one of those magazines that's got all the preseason conference rankings and stuff. And, just thinking about us doing this podcast, do you even think about stuff like that? Do you pick those magazines up when you go to Walmart or Target or whatever like that? Or is it just kind of just too soon? And, you've got some new guys coming in that are going to contribute, and you've got, a lot of returning key pieces, or do you just don't even pay attention to that stuff?
No, I'm a college basketball fan, Will, so I'll pick them up. And invariably, over the last couple of years, we've been, favored to win it, which is great and all that, but it doesn't mean anything. If anything, it just puts more expectation on you. But I certainly do take a look at it, and oftentimes I'll kind of look at some of our conference or non-conference opponents and see what they're saying about them as well.
Well, Coach, it has been an absolute honor for you to come on right day before tip and give us breaking news. How about that? Breaking news on the show. What a precedent to start the season. It's gonna be hard to live up to this now from here on out. So
yeah, no, I mean it sincerely. You guys do a wonderful job. Nick, somebody told me you talked about, if I can go one more minute, somebody told me you talked about scheduling, and I'm just going to give Flames Nation just a forecast. When Derek Johnston, one of our associate head coaches, and I spend a ton of time on scheduling. And when your program reaches a point, when I first got here, we could have scheduled anybody we wanted. Like, they were all signing up, and then we had a little bit of success, and then we won in the tournament. And if you look at the chronological order of our non-conference scheduling, man, it's gone down in terms of high major opportunities. And it's going to happen in football too. The moment you start winning those games, no one's going to sign you up to pay you a certain amount of money to come and possibly beat them in their own stadium. So I do think enjoy the games that you get at home, because if fans knew just how hard it was to get a game, they would be surprised. And again, I know you spoke to that, and the way the metrics are now in the NCAA tournament selection process, it seemingly has gotten harder and harder. But we're going to do our part to continue to give it a go at a great competitive schedule to prepare us for our league. But try not to get disenchanted. It's a privilege to be able to come into the arena and see a group of guys that really want to represent the university in a special way. So hopefully you'll come out and support them.
Yeah, absolutely. And as soon as you said that in the press conference about the teams manipulating the quad fours, it doesn't matter if it's a high quad four or a low quad four, I heard it on like 3 different podcasts and I saw it. So I think you're ahead of the curve on that. So I do think that is maybe something. Hopefully, I love the net. It's much better than like the RPI. Hopefully, that is something that they'll continue to adjust and find the weaknesses. But all right,
you guys, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Well, what a way to start the show. I've got Kyle Rode now on. I think Colin's going to be on here in just a second. Kyle, thanks so much for joining us. 24 hours away, less than 24 hours away from Tip, and there's Colin as well. Thanks for joining us, guys. Kyle, what's the feeling for you? Being so close here to the start of the season.
No, just super grateful, man. Anytime you get to start a basketball season, it's kind of like Christmas Day. So super excited, ready to compete with our guys against somebody different, against somebody in a different jersey. So just super excited and looking forward to it.
And Colin, welcome to Liberty Flames, and you're about to make your debut. Coach just said you're not getting redshirted, so I guess we don't have to worry about that. So that's cool. Colin, what attracted you to come to Liberty?
People like KR and just the people around the organization and the team. It's an incredible feel. Everyone wants to build a genuine relationship with you, and the faith aspect definitely helps a decision and ease it up for my parents. To enable them to let me go away from home for the first time.
That's cool. That's always a fun experience to be away from home for the first time. So the same question that Nick asked Coach, like, what's it like the night before tip-off for you guys? Like, what are you guys looking forward to the most? Is there nerves, or are you just ready to go out there?
Yeah, no, I think Coach, when he talked about Malik, it's so cool seeing him play on Sunday Night Football. So watching that right now, and just trying to eat well and watch us scout a little bit, watch a little bit of region, and like he said, stay distracted a little bit, man. It's 7 o'clock, seems like an eternity away, but at the same time, I know it'll come fast. So.
Just like a little practical, I've always kind of wondered, like, when you guys have a game night, like, what time do you guys get to the arena? Do they have like food there waiting for you? Do you guys hit the the weight room before you go in there? Like, kind of, what's the game day routine for you guys?
Yeah, normally you have a shoot around, depending if it's home or away. It could be in the morning, it could be 5 hours before, and typically we'll eat pregame meal 3 to 4 hours before, and then come back about 2 hours before, man. It's game time before you know
it. So, Colin, you're known as a big-time scorer. That's the reputation that you bring into Liberty. What are maybe some other aspects of your game that you you pride yourself on, or you think you can help bring to this team this year?
Yeah, well, I try to be create for everyone else on the team. I want to be a real point guard. There's not a lot of them out in today's world, really. So pass first point guard, and then I've been trying to get better defense. Of course, with me and Darius are kind of small, so just being able to hold my own is a big something I want to take pride in this year.
Yeah, very good. Kyle, a question for you. Last season, you guys obviously had another good year, 22 wins. Had the tough loss in the semifinals to Bellarmine. Honestly, felt like you guys played a pretty good game. You played a good defensive game, just had a bad shooting night. Has that kind of motivated you all off season? That game, kind of leading into the season?
Yeah, 100%, man. I think as a team, we always say, our barometer of success isn't championships, but at the same time, there's a championship to be had. We want to win it. So falling short of that is definitely fuel for us, and just wanted to get better every day. This is a new team, and just try to continue to keep having the same identity we've had in years past that have had us be successful. So it's really been a great off season for us. And when you add guys like CP and Zach and the rest of the freshmen too, it just keeps raising the level of who we are as a program. So super excited to get back out there this year.
Yeah, question for Colin. Colin, when you were kind of going through your recruiting process and, Coach McKay is talking to you, had you ever heard of the pack line defense? Because I had not until Coach McKay brought it back and, when they were doing it at UVA. But was that something where you were like, what the heck is that? Or, what was your mindset going into knowing like Liberty's defensive identity?
Yeah, well, I had to be patient with this summer and just trying to learn it because in high school we played the complete opposite. We were denying passing lanes. You didn't really have no help, so it was a complete 180 for me. But it's been really nice. I think that it was better for me to go from being on an island 1-on-1, being in the passing lanes to going to the pack. I think it's helped me transition easier than it would to be vice versa.
So, Kyle, last season, it seemed like it took you a little bit of time to get into a groove, and then it felt like right around Christmas time, into the East Carolina game, and then into the Diamond Head Classic and conference play, you played really well. What kind of adjustment did you make mid-season that, if you agree with that assessment, that helped you, finish the year as strong as you did?
100%, man. I think that's a really fair assessment. And at the same time, it's kind of funny. It was really just sticking to my routine. Didn't really change anything. Just kind of doubled down on my routine and just being confident. And I had great teammates and coaches that just kind of just kept pouring into me as well. And I think it speaks a lot of who they are too, and just continue to trust and believe in the guys we have. So really not a whole lot changed. Just tried to make shots every now and then and make sure Darius got great looks and just compete, man. It was a really good end of the season for sure.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for taking some time to join us. We are 1,000% rooting for you guys. Can't wait to watch the game tomorrow. And then we're obviously really excited to see you guys against Alabama Friday. That's pretty close too. So thanks again, guys. And hopefully we can catch up with you guys again down the road.
Thank you all.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Well, I believe Tim Scarborough is going to be joining us here in just a minute. Really fun show so far. Thanks so much to everyone who has come on. We're going to go ahead and play an ad for Jason Porter Real Estate, who is a proud sponsor of the Sea of Red podcast.
Well, hey, everybody. My name is Jason Porter. I'm with Legacy Realty and Development, and it's been a great partnership here with Sea of Red lately. I was with Liberty Athletics as the Associate Athletic Director for Sports Medicine, so took care of all of the healthcare needs and coordinated that with a fantastic staff at Liberty in the athletic department, of course, for about 5 or 6 years, and then moved into real estate full time and with Legacy Realty and Development. And it's just been a great pleasure to continue to stay connected with my Liberty University family and the athletics family as well. Been enjoying serving them. A lot of the graduate assistants and some of the staff that I hired has come back now and has been using me for residential services, which I really appreciate. But certainly do residential real estate as far as buying and selling of homes, of course. And then also we have a strong commercial presence as well. So commercial real estate, obviously a very, very different animal than is residential. But whether it's buying and selling commercial properties or just the leasing of properties, we can help with that as well. So it's been a great opportunity to service our commercial clients as well. And then certainly on the investment front too, a number of folks who have discovered the power of passive income through real estate and investing in real estate with rental properties or fix and flips, those kind of things. And so great joy to serve my clients in that capacity as well. The other thing that I would add too is just a very, very full Rolodex at this point of contractors and subs and just different professional contacts that I've made through the years. So if I can ever provide any of those folks to you and all of a sudden you need a plumber or an electrician or a contractor to build your deck, whatever, I'd certainly be glad to give you access to that Rolodex and those references as well. Because a lot of times it's not exactly who you know, it's who you know that knows how to do the job well. And so I would be glad to provide those services for you as well. So love Flames Nation, love taking care of my Liberty family. And if there's ever anything I can do for you, my contact information is all right here on the screen. and I would love to be a service to you and yours. Thanks so much.
All right. Well, thanks to Jason Porter Real Estate for continued support of everything at Sea of Red. We've got our guy, Tim Scarborough. Tim is driving back, I believe, from covering a G League game. Couldn't miss the show. Stopped to join us. Tim, what is up, my man? What were you up to tonight?
Yeah, you're right. I'm in Birmingham now. I just stopped at Buc-ee's. I don't know if people are familiar with Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
A giant gas station / Walmart. And it's got everything you want, man. So I always stop at Buc-ee's when I'm in Birmingham. So figured I'd just stay in the parking lot here so I wouldn't have to talk and drive. And I wasn't actually calling the Squadron game. I am one of their announcers, but I was just going to check the team out. Just doing some G League stuff this weekend. I was at the Skyhawks in College Park outside of Atlanta on Friday, and now today I'm in Birmingham. So happy to talk Liberty basketball always. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, Nick.
Go ahead.
How are you feeling about the conclusion of the World Series there?
Oh, you got to go there. Okay. Yeah, I was going to rock my Phillies hat tonight, and I said, no, I'm going to take it easy on these guys. But, I'm proud of the team, and happy for Dusty Baker winning his first World Series. It was a win-win for me no matter what. I kind of knew Houston was better than the Phillies. I think everybody did. And, they proved it on the field, and congratulations to them. But, the future is bright in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
Will coming in firing shots. All right, Scar, I knew you spent some time around the team like about 10 days ago or so. What you get to watch a practice. What was your take on what you saw?
Darius McGee is terrible, but everybody else, no, really. I mean, I think you guys are going to cover it or have covered it. They are going to be very good. Obviously, Liberty's picked to win the ASUN in its final season in the conference. No surprise there. Due in large part to Darius McGee coming back. But again, for the last couple of years, it's been about, Darius is going to get his, but who can help him? And so you guys just had Kyle Rode on the broadcast. I'm really excited about him, Shiloh, and really Blake Preston as well. So I think those three guys are going to give them a lot of solid basketball play, both ball handling. Because people don't realize this, but Kyle Rode led the team in assists last year. He handles the ball a lot, and Ritchie McKay's bigs tend to bring the ball up. They go up. They feel like it's a mismatch because their bigs can handle the ball, and the other team's bigs usually can guard as well on the perimeter. So, I expect they're going to have a lot of veteran leadership. I'm excited about some of the new pieces they added. The guard play is going to be exceptional, as it has been the last couple of years. Brody Peebles is going to take a step forward. Van Zandt, I'm really excited about him. And Zay Warfield, all those guys with experience from last year as young players coming back as veterans, man, I think it's going to be a really, really fun year for Liberty basketball.
Tim, I know we bugged you about this last year, but got to ask you, as a guy that's been around this program for so long, seeing Liberty as like a consistent top 100 team, seeing Liberty ranked, I think, 5th in mid-major, top 25. What does that mean to you as a guy who played here, who was a broadcaster here for a long time and still, champions Liberty? What does that mean to you?
Oh, it means a lot. And, I feel like the foundation of that school, the foundation of that program is those bricks, not literally my jump shot, but the bricks of that foundation were laid by guys like myself, Paul Nazigan, Bailey Alston, some of the names you guys know, even the guys I coached, Larry Jackson, Peter Aluma, Marcus White, Jay Boykin, the guys I'm really good friends with, Chris Toomer and Matt Hildebrand, that group that came in after me, Jody Chapman. So, and then even the Glenn Turners of this world. I keep in touch with a lot of guys. Those guys I consider my little brothers, or in some cases, big brothers if they're older than me. But, the Flames Nation is what I live and breathe. And I represent the program. I represent the school in the world, in the broadcast world, but certainly even in my life. So Liberty basketball being successful is a big thing for me. And I'm really excited about what Ritchie McKay has done with the program. He's done it in his way. You know, he's not recruiting 5-star guys, but they play like 5 stars when they get in the program. And it means the world to me to have the program be playing on a national scale. And now with football doing what they're doing, it's no longer when I'm out in the world, the basketball world, saying, yeah, I played at Liberty. Everybody knows what Liberty basketball is now. So no explaining, no explanation necessary. And I get looked at a little bit differently now. It's like, oh, you played at Liberty, pretty cool, you know. Where before it was like, oh, is that Division III? No, I played Division I basketball, bro. Don't shortchange me.
Scar, I was in the grocery store and I saw a lady with a Liberty hat on, and I never see anybody with Liberty stuff on in my town. And I had a Liberty football shirt on, and she asked me if I played for the football team. And as you can tell, like, yeah, I look like I did, but I did tell her I was involved with the athletics program. Yeah. I didn't tell her I was the mascot or anything like that. You didn't tell her you was Sparky. Yeah. But you know, you cover a lot of different leagues. And so you know, to me, it seems like this team coming in with the pieces that we've added and the pieces that retained seems like we're like a little bit more balanced. I don't know if that's a fair assessment or not, and we'll find out ultimately. But how important is that kind of balance when we start talking about going into the CUSA and playing some of those teams?
Yeah, you know, I feel like, you know, having covered Conference USA in the last 7 or 8 years, I feel like the athletic quotient in Conference USA is a little higher than it is in the ASUN. So that would be the first thing that I would think of in terms of Liberty making that adjustment. The top teams in Conference USA, the way it's comprised now, and of course, you know, there's a lot of reorganization. But when you think about the teams that are left, UAB, Western Kentucky, Middle Tennessee is starting to come up. Their bigs are big. You know, there was a guy, Trey Jemison, right here in Birmingham, 7-footer, 5th-year guy, got that extra year because of COVID, looking to turn pro. Western Kentucky has a 7'7", 7'6", 7'7". I mean, he's really tall. He's Jamarion Sharp. I mean, he's a big-time player. And, you know, he led the country in block shots for most of the season. I think he did finish as the leader in block shots, no surprise. But he's also a really good athlete. He runs the floor, plays more like a 6'9" guy than a 7'6" guy. So there's going to be guys like that you'll have to deal with. And, of course, UAB is leaving at the end of this year. But then New Mexico State comes in. And, you know, I think about what they did last year. I got to cover them. And Chris Jans is was an assistant under Greg Marshall. And they kind of play the way Winthrop used to play back when you were in school, Will. Really good defensive team. Now, Chris Jans left to take the Mississippi State job, but the coach that's coming right behind him is going to run that same system, same program. So, you know, they're going to be really good. Obviously, Jackson State, coached by Coach Harper, they're always going to be good, a former Western Kentucky coach. So the league is still going to be a solid league. It's not going to be what it was. Old Dominion's not there. Marshall's not there. North Texas is a really good team. They're not going to be there. Of course, UAB is leaving and some others. But from what I can see, Liberty's adjustment is going to be the athletic quotient, particularly underneath the goal, and really on the perimeter as well. The guards are bigger than 5'9" Darius McGee and 5'9" Porter. You're going to have some bigger guards that you have to deal with. So it's going to be an adjustment, but I think Liberty will be up to the task.
All right. Well, awesome, Tim. We may have Naz. Naz might be having some technical troubles. I wanted to get you guys on here for just a second, have a little NASCAR live here on a
2/3 of NASCAR.
NASCAR, yeah. Be sure to check out the podcast. We love, so, you know, I know you guys know this, but me and Paul Nazigan have known each other since middle school. Played against each other in the same conference. Paul's last game, I broke his heart. We won by 2 in the championship game when I was a junior. And then, you know, when I graduated from high school in Philadelphia, we were teammates at Liberty. We coached together at Liberty, and now we're in broadcast together doing the podcast. So, you know, Paul Nazigan is a great dude. You guys know him well. Really does a really good job of broadcasting. Everyone doesn't know that I named Sparky back in the day when Will was the Sparky. But I also got Paul Nazigan as broadcast star. So, you know, I feel good about this show right now.
Yeah, you guys have been killing it with NASCAR. It's so cool to have a podcast with you guys, for so many years as someone who watched Liberty basketball on the Big South
Yeah.
Network in Ohio. I felt like sometimes that was one of a few. And now it feels like I'm one of an army, which is just so cool that there's so much content out there, so much of a need for content. And yeah, you guys have been killing it on the podcast. Listen, first day it's out every single time. Well, Tim, we'll let you get back on the road so you're not back too late. But we do really appreciate you taking the time. Hopefully we catch up with you again sometime this year for sure. We'd love to do that.
No question. Anytime, even if I'm on the road, as you see, I'll make time for my.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Tim. We'll look forward to seeing you on
I will.
Stadium this year as well, calling games. A lot of good mid-major matchups.
And also, I'll be on a TV channel called The Grio. It's HBCU basketball.
Nice.
I'm supposed to be getting a contract this week sent to me. Don't know how many games I'll be doing, but I'll be working with The Grio as well, covering the SWAC and the MEAC and some of the other HBCU. So
awesome.
I'll let you guys know when I'm on, of course.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that. All right, Tim, take care.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you.
All right, good stuff from our guy Tim. We're hoping to have Paul Nazigan on here in just a minute.
Kirby, I think Naz heard my shot against the Phillies and was like, forget it, I'm not going.
You know what? I kind of thought maybe that was pushing it. I didn't want to say anything at the time, but, hopefully we don't start dropping guests, because of your team won the World Series like a year ago, dude. Like, come on. We don't need to be throwing punches. Show some humility, Reverend.
Man, I'm scared of the Phillies next year. But anyway, that's a different podcast.
While we're waiting here, let's look through the schedule. What we got coming up here. So of course tomorrow is Regent. I am super excited about just kind of seeing what the rotations look like. Very interested in that. So obviously Liberty should win by 40. But I'm excited for that. What are you looking forward to tomorrow, Will?
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing some of those new guys play and just kind of what they look like. And when by the time we get to Alabama on Monday, see a jump up in competition, and seeing kind of what they look like against kind of two opposite ends of the spectrum there.
Yeah. All right. I think we got our guy here. I think we got Naz. Naz, my man, how we doing?
I'm good. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, yeah.
You're good. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, I had a little technical difficulty, so I'm glad I got connected, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. So Naz, 24 hours away from the season, less than 24 hours. You'll be on the call tomorrow, right?
Yeah, me and Matt Warner. Yep, can't wait to get it rolling.
You guys always kill it on the broadcast, and seriously, this is no Kool-Aid. We absolutely love the broadcast that you guys bring. It's one of the best in the country. What are you looking forward to this year? What do you think maybe is the biggest key that you're, maybe give us a sneak peek of what your keys to the season might be tomorrow?
Coach mentioned a little bit. Keegan McDowell's the only guy that we really lost. Great depth coming back. And his shot was, there was a lot of games where, man, when we needed a three, he was the guy. And again, I think Brody Peebles is ready to really step in and kind of fill that role. But it's one of those things, guys. It's like my mom's lasagna. It's incredible, and you don't mess with the recipe. You just there's nothing you can add to it. It's perfect the way it is. And so, we're going to see a lot of the same with that big group coming back of guys and names that we know. But man, it's going to be beautiful. We're going to see all the things we expect to see: great defense, that ball moving around, guys cutting back door and sharing the ball. It's going to be phenomenal. Again, another great year coming up.
Naz, you're already in mid-season form with a Nazism, man, right away.
Man,
love it.
got some lasagna going. Personally, I would rather eat a cactus than eat lasagna.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, Naz, thanks for being on tonight. Liberty basketball put out that incredible video after last season with the Darius return announcement. How are you feeling about that? Any thoughts about the return of one of the greatest basketball players Liberty has ever seen?
Well, I joked, we did our preview show last week, and I kind of joked that when Darius announced he was coming back, that I had mixed feelings about it. I didn't know whether to be happy or ecstatic. So I don't know if you guys caught that, but I was trying to string some people along. No, it was great. And I guess I felt probably like you guys. I mean, he had done so much for the program, one of the all-time greats. I just wanted him to be able to do what he wanted to do, and we would feel good about it. If that meant going pro, as Coach said, or to maybe another high-profile program, I just wanted him to be 100% able to do what he's earned the right to do. And when he said he was coming back, I'm glad for him, because that's what he wanted to do. He's going to have a great year, man. Flames Nation gets to watch him for another year and set more records, but do it in a way that we love, with him sharing the ball and being just such a great teammate and a servant on the floor, like not a guy that's about himself, even though he gets talked about and highlighted so much. It's going to be special watching him again.
You mentioned Brody Peebles as a guy that you think is going to be a breakout player potentially this year. What about his game are you looking forward to that you think he can really take that leap? As we've seen many players with Liberty, like Shiloh Robinson was the guy last year. What do you think is that next step for him?
I hope it's consistency. He was not a guy that lacked confidence, and we saw in early games that he came in and shot the ball and looked at home out there, and so he got minutes early, and that was all good. But I think there was kind of the up and down. We saw some big games, but then there were some other games where maybe he didn't have as much offensive impact. And again, not to put that on his shoulders, but I think he's ready to take that next step where we'll know kind of game in, game out, what we're going to get out of Brody. I know he's really worked on his skills, as all the guys have done, man. I was able to get in and see a couple practices too. And you can just tell, man, they just use the summers to just get themselves better. He's tightened up his shot a little bit, quickened his release a little bit. I saw a few of those classic drives where he's banging into a couple of guys and leaning, and he still manages to get up there. So I like his game, and just looking forward to him to kind of taking the next step coming back this year.
Yeah. Naz, you played at Liberty, you coached at Liberty, you announced their games and have been, doing the podcast with Scar and Nick Pierce and just following for the long time. We've got a new assistant coach coming in this year. What does that do for the team when you kind of lose a coach like Susie, who has been there for a long time? And we know McKay is still steering the ship at the end of the day, but how does that affect the team, having a new coaching change like that?
Yeah, losing Coach Seuss, that's something that I know Coach McKay will feel the most, obviously, with those guys, just longtime friendship and relationship as coaches together. So it'll be a new voice, in huddles. And here's the one thing, though, and Coach has said this, so I don't think it's a secret, but he's got a very short list of guys that he trusts to bring into the program in whatever capacity. And so it's not just sort of we're not sure what we're going to get. Let me take some applications and see who goes through that's a person that knows what Liberty's about is in lockstep with Coach McKay's philosophy and coaching style and the pack line. And so I don't think it'll be much of a disruption or a change, if at all. Coach is going to be a great addition to the staff.
All right, Naz, I'm going to bring it up here. What game this season are you most interested in, or maybe one game that you really have circled this year for Liberty that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I mean, again, maybe it's a little redundant, but Alabama. I mean, I think, it's funny. Those games used to be kind of, like markers, like let's see what we have, and you guys sort of alluded to this in the talking about football, and man, what a great win they had. I'm still kind of riding high, as we all are, over that Arkansas win, but like with football and basketball, it's like those games are just like they're not. I'm trying to describe it, but it's just sort of like, that's going to be a great game. Like with everybody we got coming back, that's a 50-50 game. Like, even though it's down there, like that's how much farther the program has come over the years. They used to be, oh, wow, look, this year we're playing, who? And so you guys mentioned with Scar, you on before, like having been a part of the program, and seeing how far it's come, not to get off on a tangent, but like we used to look at those games like, wow, we get a chance to go down and play Clemson. And now it's like, man, we got to go down a chance and we could beat Alabama. Like that's a game. And again, it's going to take a great effort, but you got guys this team that will not phase them. Kyle Rode and Darius McGee and JV, those guys aren't phased. They're going to go down there and compete like warriors and have a great chance to win. So, I mean, that just speaks to how far the program has come, where, me and Scar, we go down there, we get our teeth kicked in by 40, but we were just happy to be down there playing Texas and places like that. So, yeah, that's a big one. It's hard coming off, like you got to play Regent, and then it just ramps up to Alabama. I think we had a similar thing last year where they had to they played the cupcake and then went down and played LSU. So I'm a little worried about that. But once the guys get up and down the court, I can't wait to see them take it down there to Alabama.
Yeah, it's definitely a much different mindset. I know last year, played really well with LSU until about the last 8 minutes. And in years past, we've been like, hey, that was awesome. Great. We were all feeling at the end of the game like, man, we could have won that.
Yes.
It's
is that just a follow-up question to that? Like, just, your personal opinion, like when you go from the extreme of Regent to Alabama like that, would you almost rather have like another mid-major in there just to kind of transition a little bit?
Yeah, I would. I think that's the thing. No matter what happens tomorrow night, you're not going to be able to simulate that jump when you get down there to play Alabama. So yeah, that's exactly right, Will. I wish there was kind of one more game in between there that was a little more of a mid-major style and competition, just to kind of hone us in a little bit more. But again, that's where your experience comes in. I mean, there's guys that have been through that. The guys that have been through big games, that'll get the guys ready and focused. And I know they'll go down there and have a great showing.
Naz, Chad asks, what's your free throw percentage these days?
What's that?
What's your free throw percentage these days?
Mine 100, because I don't shoot them anymore.
Hey, that's a way to finish the show there, Naz. All right. Well, Naz, thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight. We are so looking forward to having you on the call this season. I'll be bugging you to come on here again at some point later on down the road.
Anytime, man. I love being on with you guys. You guys do a great job. Man, every time I come on, I'm just amazed. You got the graphics, you got the ticker going along the bottom, and you guys pull out all the stops for Flames Nation. I know everybody, me included, appreciates this show and all you guys do.
Well, that means a lot, Naz. All right, thanks a lot. We'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow, okay?
All right, see you guys.
Thanks, Naz.
All right, we're going to jump right back in. We've got Nick Lorensen. Did I say your name right, Nick?
Lorensen, close.
Oh, I'm sorry. Nick is part of Mid-Major Madness. Did an awesome Twitter Spaces with John Manson previewing the ASUN, and I knew we had to get you on for this show to talk about the league. First off, tell us a little bit about yourself for the Liberty fans that don't know you and your work. What all do you do in covering college basketball?
Yeah, I know Mid-Major Madness kind of has a bad rep with Liberty. I'm trying to mend it. I'm trying to mend it over time, but yeah, I'm a junior in high school. I took over the Twitter about last year. It all started. I'm from Baltimore, so I ran this UMBC page, and when they beat Virginia, it blew up in the tournament. The first 16 over one, and I kind of parlayed that into writing jobs, and I've been building it since then. So lots of social media stuff covering all the smaller schools of college basketball. Just love it. We're almost there. We got 15 more hours. Counting it down.
Baylor, Mississippi Valley, right? At noon. Looking forward to it. Yeah, it's really great to see. The work that you're doing at Mid-Major Madness. It's glad you're vetted some bridges and that preview show. And really, I've tried to listen to as many of them as I can because I do love college basketball in general, and all the conference previews that you did. You had so many coaches on and stuff. Really cool concept and really, really great work on that. Appreciate that. Tell us about the ASUN. Let's start with that. Let's just jump right into it. Who do you think is the biggest threat to Liberty?
The two Florida schools, I'm kind of shocked to see FGCU down so low in those KenPom ratings you just put up, because I really like what Pat Chambers has coming in. One of the guys is Chase Johnson. He's coming in. He was at Stetson. He tore it up for a long time. I know when I was talking to John during the space, he was saying that he just tore up Liberty every time he played. So that's kind of crazy. And they're returning Caleb Cato. They do lose Tavian Dunbarton, so that's kind of tough. They bring in some transfers, but Jacksonville too. They got some guys coming in. Dylan O'Hearn's coming over from NJIT. Asana Sajala still at Lipscomb. It's tough to guard Darius. Teams have done it. They did well enough last year. You guys were still obviously at the top, but I feel like it's Liberty's league to lose this season. Maybe Asana Sajala gets healthy and he does great. Bellarmine's not as great as they were last year because they lose Dylan Penn. He transferred to Vermont, but I think it's going to come down to Liberty and FGCU. I'm really shocked to see FGCU that low.
We've been talking about FGCU and maybe a little underrated there. But you mentioned Darius McGee there. When me and Nick were in college forever ago, we talked about Liberty maybe being like the Gonzaga of the East Coast one day. And I know a lot of people don't consider Gonzaga to be a mid-major. But, back then, our football team was not very good. And we were like, this is going to be a basketball school. But now with the football team, beating Arkansas and doing all these, winning bowl games and having some big time recruits and things like that. For us as Liberty homers, we see that trajectory of Liberty being a national brand one day. Can you just talk about the perception of Liberty, on the national radar and Darius McGee, because he's kind of the star of the show here?
Yeah, it's definitely a growing school. Moving to the Conference USA next year, that's where you guys are moving to, right? Conference USA. Yeah, that's a huge move, especially football wise. I sat down, I watched a good bit of that game yesterday against Arkansas. And it was just domination. They had that pick, it really closed it, even though Arkansas kind of came back there a little bit. But Liberty's got a good rep. They're growing. They keep growing school size wise, football wise, and they're continuously up there at the top in college basketball. What you want. They had that win a couple seasons ago in the tournament. It's tough to get to a Gonzaga level because that takes a long time. But if anyone's doing it correct, I think James Madison and a Liberty, those two are probably the top two on the East Coast right now, just because they're moving to FBS football. You guys have obviously been there a couple of years, and right away you found success, and you've been finding success in college basketball. And I feel like it can happen with the Conference USA. The Conference USA, a lot of the real power schools are leaving. So I feel like Liberty could hop into that right away and make a statement.
Darius McGee versus Max Abrams in December. What does that mean to you?
That's going to be a great matchup. When Ace Smith and a McGee face off, I've been vouching for it for a long time. That game needs to be on national television. It's two of the best guards probably in the nation. Ace Smith puts up a crap ton of points. Darius McGee shoots a 3-ball like crazy. That's an elite matchup. And it's on a Monday night. I mean, what else do they have on it? There's going to be football on, of course, on ESPN, but put it on like ESPN too. That's going to be a great matchup.
Yeah, for sure. Who are some other mid-major programs just around the country, just as a basketball fan, for those who may be tuning in, just, wanting some, who are some mid-major teams that you are maybe think are under the radar this year, or you're really looking forward to watching?
Yeah, San Diego State and Dayton really aren't under the radar. They're both top 25, but I think that they're going to be really good. UAB wasn't in the top 25 heading into the season. They can find their way in there. Andy Kennedy has done a great job over there. Let me see. Let me go up and down the coasts. We got Toledo's going to be really good in the MAC. They returned both their big men. Sincere carryover at Kent State's a great guard. Came over from Duquesne. He's another really good guard. St. Mary's is always good defensively. Wyoming's going to be great. Graham Ike's out for a little while. He's a really good big man. Him and Hunter Maldonado done a great job over there. Let me think of a couple more for you guys. St. Louis. St. Louis has a lot of really good players. They return a lot. Chattanooga is going to be a little sleeper team. Sanford has a great backcourt over there in BM. And who's going to be at the top? Furman. Furman has a really nice core group coming back. And there's a lot of teams that you should keep an eye on. You got South Dakota in the Summit League. I can go on and on and on.
Yeah. What are maybe some under the radar players that we should be watching?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. Thinking about it, there's a lot of players in leagues that there's a lot of transfers. There's a lot of really good transfers. Like Chase Johnson, I feel like he's super underrated because he's been able to do it in the A-Sun before, and he's staying in league, so he knows what he's doing. Let me go through some notes real quick. Hawaii has some really good guys coming in. Noel Coleman, when he was on the floor last year, Hawaii was one of the best mid-major teams in the country, in my opinion, and he got hurt, kind of fell down a little bit. In the WAC, New Mexico State has this kid coming in. He was the D2 JUCO Freshman Player of the Year 2 years ago. And then last year, he was the D1 JUCO Freshman Player of the Year. And he's coming over with his coach to New Mexico State and DeShondre Washington. So he's going to be really good. I mentioned Sincere Carey at Kent State. I mention him all the time. He's a great guard. I kind of think he's a little underrated for what they have. Yeah, I mean, those three right off the top of my head, most recently talked about, those three are going to be really good watches.
Last question for you, Nick. Any thoughts on Queens, the new team here in the A-Sun? I know you had their coach on, who is actually, I believe I just saw he was going to be suspended for the first 5 games. What's your thoughts on Queens and kind of them taking this leap this year?
Yeah, I think they're a great addition. They've been a strong program for years in the D2 level, and they just have winning ways. I mean, Bart Lundy was their coach. I want to say they won 25, 26 games last year, and he took a D1 job in Milwaukee, and it means a lot for a program to just have someone elevated. They're moving up, keep them in the system, have them elevated from assistant role to a head coaching role, and they returned a lot of their guys that did a lot of stuff that scored a lot of points for them last year. So I think that's big. It stinks that Grant Leonard's going to be gone for the first 5 games of the year. He had a DWI, but I think that they're going to be much better than people give them credit for. I know John was talking. He's like, I think they're going to get 7 wins or something like that. I got a text from Grant right after that. He's like, let's make a bet. Let's make a lunch bet. I bet we'll get more than 7 wins. I said, I'll take that side. So I said every game, if they have 7 wins, I'm going to go up to Charlotte for every single game to see if they can clinch it. I know they played Liberty in the last 2 games, so hopefully that will cross paths there.
Back to back games. Yeah.
Yeah, the A-Sun did a like a preview show that was on ESPN Plus, and he seemed intense, man. I was into it. Yeah, so speaking of Queens, like just kind of moving up a level, are there any other teams around the nation that are kind of doing that same thing that you look at and like, man, they could be sneaky good? And as a follow-up to that, this first week, what kind of upsets are you looking at? Do you see any big upsets on the radar coming up?
Yeah, for the first one, I mean, South Dakota always pops in mind. Eric Peterson used to be an assistant there, and he followed Craig Smith, who was at Utah State, at Utah right now as an assistant. He went back to South Dakota, and they had all these players transfer out. He got them to come back. There were 3 all-league players, and then he also got the player or the freshman of the year in the league that come into South Dakota. So I really like what they did there. And upset-wise, I've been telling everyone I think UT Martin's going to be Pitt tomorrow. That's not that big of an upset. I've really only looked at tomorrow. What else is there? I think I wrote a whole article about it. I should have this off the top of my head. Winthrop,
Liberty, Alabama. Excuse me.
That could happen on Friday. Longwood goes to Alabama too. That could be an interesting one. Winthrop goes to Penn State tomorrow. That could happen too. South Dakota, like I mentioned, they go up to Wisconsin. Something to give there. A lot of Big South and A-Sun schools there trying to get your little try to get that in there, the old stomping grounds.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun week of basketball for sure.
Can't wait.
What's your setup like, Nick? What are you? How many tablets and phones are you getting out to watch games?
I usually have a lot. I think tomorrow I'm only going to do 3 because my roommate's a Ravens fan. I don't really know if I want to cross streams with that. I don't know if I want to go out there and watch a Ravens game with him. So I might be in my room hunkered down with like 4 streams on my laptop, 1 on my phone, and 1 on the TV. So it's not gonna be the usual 4 TV setup. I usually have a 4 TV setup.
My man. Same for college hoop season. Well, Nick, we really appreciate you and all you're doing for Mid-Major Madness and helping, get Liberty a little more on the radar and in terms of that community. And appreciate all your work. And hopefully, maybe sometime we can catch up again. Maybe once we kind of get into conference play, that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you guys. I'm here whenever you guys need me. I'm always here, always free.
Thanks,
all
Nick.
right. Thanks, Nick. Have a great night, bud.
Speak soon.
All right, let's bring him in. Should we bring him in, Will?
The hits keep coming. Bring him in.
Can't even look up at us.
Hey. All right. Man, did that guy just say he was a junior in high school?
That was my question. Is he that now or when he started that UMBC page?
I don't know, but I'm not following that up. If you want to talk, Nick,
College.
Are you a junior in college?
Oh, there he is.
I started that when I was a junior in high school, but yeah,
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah,
man, how are you gonna bring me in after this guy who's just rattling off every single stat, every single team? Like, here's what I got for you. I got a Malik Willis update for you. I got Liberty beat Arkansas last night. That's about all I'm good for. And Darius McGee. There you go.
There
Malik Willis is that's all I got for you, Nick. If you don't need me for anything else, just as soon as Myo Baxter-Bell shows up, you can cut over to him because I got nothing after that guy.
All right, well, I'm kicking both of you out because Mayo's here. Here we go. Myo, what is up? How you doing?
What's up? How you guys doing?
Oh, doing
What's up,
great.
Myo?
What's up?
So excited to have you joining the show. So tell us about your current role with Liberty for those who may not know.
This is my second year as a graduate assistant. It's been fun year. I'm ready to kick off another one. But been around in practice and kind of like a practice player, working guys out here and there, and just giving knowledge wherever I can give it.
Well.
Good deal. My number one question is, if I ain't got nothing else going on, I'm going back and watching highlights of you guys play in the tournament. How much do you look at those highlights?
I do. I still do look at them. Find it or something, I'll go back and look. That was a fun time. I don't think there's nothing like the March Madness.
So, Myo, you were a part of several wins over SEC schools. Obviously, we're not looking past region tomorrow. Let's not enough coach get on us. But what does it take to? What would it take for Liberty to win at Alabama on Friday? What does it take to win one of those games in that type of atmosphere?
I think it takes an overall toughness from the team because you play teams that are as good as Alabama. It's the game. There's going to be a lot of mistakes. There's going to be things that frustrate players or whatever. And I think if we can get over those and just stay committed to what we do and not play their style or anybody else's style, just play how we play. I think that's like the biggest thing. And when you're playing a team like that, and just trying to impose our will defensively and even offensively.
Yeah. Hey, Myo, you guys have a lot of new pieces coming in. Who's looking good in your eyes right now on both ends of the floor?
I think every player brings a different dynamic. I'm more so look at the bigs or the forwards because that's the position I played, and I love watching Zach Cleveland play. He's been fun to watch, and just the energy he brings on both sides, and it kind of reminds me of myself a little bit, just in how he comes in with a lot of energy, just excited about getting stops on defense, and little buckets he gets here and there. So that's probably he's a very fun player to watch.
That's really cool to hear. So we'll definitely be looking forward to Zach. I got a question kind of goes along with that. What is the most difficult thing for a player coming in to Liberty to learn in terms of Ritchie's system and the pack line? We've seen a couple players that have struggled in year one, but have taken like big leaps in leap two. What maybe is it that makes it a little more challenging maybe than other programs, if that's true?
I think you're really held in account defensively, and it's kind of like almost nitpicking a little bit, but it's more so like coming from high school. Like when I was in high school, we played a 2-3 zone, and I played the middle, and I didn't move. So I went from that to come into a system where you have to guard arguably, different positions on the floor and move your feet, not foul, close out. Like everything is calculated. So it's just kind of like coming from, everybody has a different system in high school. Not many high schools play man or play the pack line, I should say. So it's just a lot of different coverages, a lot of terminology that's being tossed around. So you have to really like pay attention and really buy into it. And if you miss it, then it'll make it hard for you to be on the same page as the other players on the floor.
How long do you think it takes to kind of gel in that system? I mean, I know when you go against Regent, that's one thing. And then when you go against Alabama, that's another thing. But like, how far into the season do you think, like you say, okay, I think I kind of understand this system? And, because, coach always says the longer that you're in it, the better it gets.
Yeah, I think it's easy to understand. It's just more so of how long does it take for players to actualize that on the court. So I think everybody understands the idea of it, but can you do it, in live action? And arguably when you're playing teams like Alabama, it makes it a lot harder to close out players that can shoot, drive, that can shoot from deep. And it tests your closeout and your IQ a little bit. But I think for me, I think it was a year by year thing. I think when we first got in it was more so like just completely trusting the system and not, showing any doubts about it, and really just trying to buy into what the coaches was telling us to do. And I think over time, any player that stays in it, you'll see the difference.
Myo, how hard is it scouting this time of year when you haven't had any of these teams play games and you're trying? You have a lot of teams that have players that didn't play there, freshmen. How hard is it scouting some of these teams these first couple weeks before they have some games under their belt that you can go watch?
So I'm on the scout team and practice, which is kind of fun, but I think the first few games when you play a team like that early, I think it's always hard because they have players, like you said, that transferred in or that don't have film from, that's updated or whatever. And so I think it's hard, but I think that's what makes it fun. Like, it's a learning experience for us, going to a place like that, playing that environment, because, you want games like that on your resume to help hopefully build your team up, good or bad, for later in the year. So it's very tough to understand what players like to do, what teams do, because I don't think, any team, I don't think they figured out, by game one how they played, what each player brings to the table. So I think it makes it tough going both ways.
Yeah, it's an interesting way of looking at it. One last question for you before we get you out of here. Looking at the ASUN this year, who is maybe a team that you think maybe is under the radar, or maybe that you've been hearing about that you're kind of really going to be watching close here these first couple weeks of the season?
Honestly, the only team that I know me and Cuff talk about, because there's a few teams that I never played against in the ASUN, so I wouldn't know who they're returning. I didn't. Is Jacksonville. I thought Jackson. I don't know who they're returning, but I thought last year they had a pretty solid team, and I think that they're going to be solid again this year. Yeah, that was one team that me and Cuff was always talking about. We're like, they got some good pieces. So I'm excited to see that matchup and see how we match up with them this year.
Yeah, they took a big leap last year, and they were a lot of fun to watch. Well, Myo, thank you so much for taking some time out of your Sunday night to join us, and a Liberty legend played just an incredible game against Mississippi State. A really flawless game, seriously. We're excited you're still with the team. Excited you're with Cuffy now. You guys are both on the bench together. That's going to be a lot of fun. So thanks for all you do for Liberty. Hopefully we can catch up again sometime.
Yep. Hey, thank you guys. And I see some Cincinnati stuff back there in the background. So I like to see that.
I completely forgot you're from Dayton, right?
I'm from Cincinnati, but I live in Dayton currently. So
okay, all right, yeah, born and raised in Cincinnati. I live in Cleveland now, but I'm all Cincinnati, So yeah, I completely forgot. I knew that, but it wasn't in my head. So yeah, go Reds.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right, Myo.
All right.
Man, you guys are gonna be eating some Skyline chili together.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, we better get him on quick because I think he's watching a game with maybe a little bit of interest tonight. I don't know. I don't know anything about that. Oh, he's got the shirt on. Wow.
I mean, when you guys asked me what time do I want to come on, I was doing the math and like, what's the most optimal time when it'll go to halftime in the Chiefs game? And I could not have picked a better time.
Yeah.
This was the perfect timing.
I said
the game on the other hand. Yeah.
Matt, they say the epitome of mixed feelings is watching your mother-in-law drive off a cliff in your brand new car.
Yeah.
Is that how you feel watching this game right now?
Yeah. Although honestly, like I was kind of hoping to see the Malik Willis from a week ago here tonight. We have just so that I'm like, let the Chiefs get a big lead, and then Willis can make some plays and feel good about everything. But he's actually looked really good tonight. They've let him do a little bit more, so it's going to be a tough second half.
Awesome. Well, Matt, thank you so much for joining us. We won't keep you too long.
You're good.
Tell us about switching from football to basketball. What is that like for you? Like right in the height of the football season, and you're going to be calling Regent tomorrow.
Yeah, this crossover season is crazy. Like I was just looking at the next couple of weeks and trying to figure out, okay, like, basketball, and you've got, assuming we get to call the Virginia Tech game and, all of that these last couple of weeks or next couple of weeks, it's going to be wild, but it makes it easy when you're sitting next to a guy like Naz. He's a pro, and I know he'll be ready to go. And man, just the excitement of this team. Like, fortunately, we get to be around him a little bit, so I'll try to catch a practice here or there when I can, just so I can kind of. It's not my first time seeing them on the court when they take the court against Regent, but yeah, man, so excited. It's a lot. It'll be really busy, but there's nothing better than calling a bunch of these games, and I think this team is going to be really, really exciting this season.
Yeah, Matt, we love Flame Central Podcast. We listen to it when it drops. Powered by Alcova Mortgage.
That's right. That's right.
And what's it like going from Joe Yock to Paul Nazigan?
I don't have to worry nearly as much about what Naz is going to say. With Joe, there's always those, and we've been around each other long enough now. He'll start to say something, and he'll give me a look like, "Get a load of this," and I'm just like, "Oh no, what's he gonna say now? Like, how's this gonna sound?" But no, it's a blast, man. They're both so much fun, and I mean, I don't know what it would be like to call a game with somebody other than those two. Really, I mean, they're such a blast to work with. They're so knowledgeable, and in the end, we just want to have fun and be entertaining, and those two guys do it at a really high level. So I'm sure. I think you guys talked to Naz earlier tonight. I'm sure he's all fired up and ready to go. We were texting earlier. And so, yeah, just can't wait to get to the gym. We both, especially early in the season, tend to get there way earlier than we need to and just sit around getting worked up for the game. And so I can't wait to do that tomorrow night.
So, Matt, I know you are high on a certain freshman named Colin Porter.
Yeah.
Tell us what you've heard about him and how you think he could be a potential immediate impact.
Yeah, well, I mean, just from a little bit you get to see of him, like number one, I think you think, all right, freshman, physically, will the guy be ready? And you think freshman too, in the fact that he reclassed and he came here, he should still be in high school. So it's like, boy, physically, how will it be? Like that kid he's thicker than you think he is. Now, he's not, I mean, just bulked up, but he does not have, you don't look at him and say, oh boy, that's a freshman. Wait till we get 20 pounds on him, then you'll see. Like, no, he's sturdy. And so that's number one. And then the other thing that excites me most is not only do I think he's really talented, but he's talented in the ways that Liberty really needs someone to be talented. He can really handle the basketball, great passer, doesn't have to be a scorer, doesn't have to get his shots, but he's capable, a capable scorer. And so just being able to take some things off of Darius McGee's plate, because what were we all saying at the end of last year? We're like, man, you asked too much of him? Like, man, he had the ball in his hands an awful lot. Like, can you live like that? And I think he's going to allow Darius to not have to do quite as much, and will also help get the Flames, I think, into their offense a little bit better, get some other people involved that may have an opportunity to shine even more this season. And even if he just takes away a few of those possessions a game where you'd see Darius bring it down, not much develop, kind of just pound the ball for a while and end up taking a shot. Like, again, when he was feeling it, you loved it. But if he takes away just a few of those possessions where he gets the Flames into their offense a little bit more, I think it makes him that much more dangerous. So I think he's the perfect piece to come in at this time with this team.
Yeah. And I think I hear what you're saying is that maybe that was a piece that was missing last year, especially towards the end of the season. And Coach McKay will send anybody down there as point guard that has arms. I mean, you see everybody, bringing the ball down the court. But is there anybody in particular that you're looking for a little bit of improvement on, whether it's somebody big down low or maybe another one of those ball handlers?
Yeah, I want to see. I think the progression that Joseph Van Zandt makes in his game is critical, because we saw him as such a lockdown defender and such an athletic kid in his freshman year. But if his offense can take that next step, if he can be he doesn't have to be a great 3-point shooter. I don't know if he ever will be in his career, but if you can just be respectable with the jump shot, I think that opens things up and makes him so much more dangerous. Because you think about it, there are certain guys where you feel like you can't play them together right now. Like you would say, you can't play Van Zandt and Warfield probably together, because both of them, while good defensively, don't give you much on the offensive end. So like, if you could see both of those guys really kind of just take that next step offensively and be able to provide just a little bit more on that end of the court, like that's a huge thing for me, because you want Joseph Van Zandt out there. You want him on the defensive end out there locking people up, but you also need to get more than 2 points, 4 points. Like if he can be a little bit more of a threat, we know the athleticism's there. So now it's just, can the jump shot kind of progress a little bit? And I think that could be a total game changer if you get him to be a little bit more of a threat offensively.
Matt, who is maybe someone in the ASUN that you're looking at this year that maybe you're interested in seeing what they do this season as maybe a threat to Liberty, or even maybe someone you just kind of see kind of surprising a lot of people?
Honestly, I feel like the league is really a lot of question marks this year. Now, I don't know if you feel that way, but like I feel like so much moved on after last season that even going back through like the all conference list, right? like, man, okay, yeah, I guess I could see that. All right, Carter Hendrickson again, okay. Like you just start kind of going through that list and you're like, I guess. But I think based off what I saw last year, and I heard Myo say it as well, I like what Jacksonville's got going on. Like, not only is Coach Mincy seem like he is just really dialed into what he wants their identity to be. Like, they play tough defense. Like, they're starting to get some talent there. You're in year 2, right, with them. Like, so like I think that's the one team out of all of those that I'm really like, okay, they could be a threat. Kennesaw, I mean, they've come a long way as well, and they have talent and lift to them. I love their coaching. Lenny Acuff is an elite coach. I think I just don't know if they have the talent to match the Flames there. So yeah, I would say Jacksonville is the one team that I think I'm the most high on out of everybody else in the ASUN.
Yeah, looking at my first thought, just looking at that graphic that Nick just put up and all the ASUN teams. Of course, you guys call all the home games, but I don't have any connection to the university, so I can say it. But I wish that Ian McCall would put a budget in for you and Nas to travel to every away game and just call those games, because it's tough sometimes to watch those broadcasts.
Well, we would do it. We would definitely do it. And we're all kind of wondering, like, Conference USA, what's that going to look like for us? That's our big concern. Like, how many how does that change things for us? But we're more than willing to hit the road anytime. We would absolutely love to do it.
All right, Matt. Well, get back to watching your football team.
Hold on. I need to know from you though. No, Nick, what's the spread for tomorrow? Like, your official what's the line? What are you setting the line in the region game? What do you got?
Oh man, they don't set lines on the sites that I don't use. But
right, what would you set it at? That's what I want to know. It's like I said, like 58. Like Liberty, like, is that too much? What was it? A little over 60 last year? Does that sound about right? 58, somewhere like that.
85-24 last year.
Yeah.
I mean, this team's better than last year. I think at least I think they're going to be better right off the bat than last year for sure. Because last year's team, really kind of struggled those, like that Manhattan game. Try to remember that early in the season.
Yeah. Well, remember too,
59.
Yeah,
59.
59. Okay. You talked about the point guard last year. Like, remember early on, we thought Drake Dobbs was going to be that other ball handler. So there was a lot of stuff happening early in the year that hopefully is not the case this season with this team. And you don't have to work through some of those things like Rich, you had to do on the fly a season ago.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna do Liberty minus 59. That's the
official number. All right.
That's the official number. I honestly, I could see it more than that, but I think I think Ritchie's gonna work so many guys in tomorrow that's where it just, who knows what they're trying. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish tomorrow either. So kind of get
and that's what
doing those kind of games.
And it's one of those things too with Alabama looming. You wonder, like, how much are they going to show? Like, how much do we see of a Colin Porter, for instance? Like, do they kind of limit him because just you don't want to show if you plan on using him a lot, you don't want to show that. So yeah, it'll be fun to see some of those other guys. Zach Cleveland, I'm telling you, he's going to have some plays this year, some wow plays as well. That kid is a big time athlete, so he's another one to watch. And wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow night we see a couple of those.
You kind of see him as do you remember now, man, I'm drawing a blank. Alex Smith, was that his name?
Andrew Smith.
Yeah,
Andrew Smith.
Andrew. Yeah.
You kind of that build, is that kind of what you're seeing?
Yeah, I think he'll be a more of a threat shooting the basketball. Andrew Smith had a funky shot. He had a funky shot, if you remember that, but it was a huge, big time athlete. But yeah, when you watch Cleveland, like going back to his high school stuff, like he is a violent player. Like he's trying to tear the rim off. He's a big time athlete. And I know they even like him in some ways. Like we see Kyle Rode from time to time initiating the offense. He's a kind of underrated passer. Cleveland is. So I think you're going to see him utilized in a lot of ways, but yeah, he's going to be a fun one to watch this year too.
Oh, awesome. Well, Matt, I appreciate that info. I haven't heard enough about Cleveland, so it's nice to hear your perspective on him. Well, we love you. We won't, sugarcoat you too much up here tonight, but we are so excited for the start of the season. You and Naz do just a fantastic job, and Emily Austin as well. So I will look forward to watching you tomorrow, and hopefully we catch up again sometime later this season.
Definitely. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. And I think go Chiefs, right?
I'm not saying
Yeah,
it.
I didn't expect
I'm
that.
in.
Yeah.
I'm in for a good tomahawk chop every now and
Okay, I
then.
appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right, Matt. Take
See you
care. All right. Cut Matt off. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, I'm not saying good. I don't think that's good for the brand. All right. Well, it's about that time. Do you know what time it is, Will?
Is it? I think I know what time it is, but you go ahead and let us know.
Oh,
Intro show.
Put the kids to bed. Put the kids to bed.
Yeah, best intro music of the night.
Had to bring that back. Mr. Ritchie Longshots, welcome to the program. What are you up to this weekend? Let's just start there, I guess.
So first off, thanks for having me on. Is my mic okay?
You sound fantastic.
Oh, now we're cooking with fire. This weekend, we watched, obviously, Liberty, Arkansas. We watched the Ponies. Won a couple games, felt good. Watched a ton of football today. I tackled all the leaves that were in my front yard with my wife today. We kind of went after that. And I've been watching football since 1 p.m. Jersey time. So I've been enjoying the show, enjoying the podcast so far today. And, it's got a school night, so enjoying some water tonight.
What's Jersey time? Is that its own own time zone?
I don't think so. I just meant Eastern time where I was in Jersey. It's been throwing the Arkansas game. They are an hour behind. It's throwing me off. Daylight savings time, which even as an adult, I still don't fully understand. But yeah, Jersey time, East Coast time. It is what it is.
Beautiful. Well, we are going to have Mr. Longshots. We don't know if we'll have him on every week, but we are going to pick some games each week, continue the tradition of the lovely A Sea of Red football live podcast hosted by our man, Chad Hassan. Will, do you have any questions for Longshot before we move into some picks?
What's in the water bottle?
It's seriously water.
Okay.
It's water.
I saw a documentary recently on Hulu that I will not name, and it said there was other things in water bottles.
Hey,
I got no comment.
I got cut off a little bit earlier, and we skipped the segment to be on. I have a quick Malik Willis update. He's 3 for 6 for 82 yards. He has rushed for 4 carries and 25 yards. And he and Derrick Henry in the RPO is insanely dangerous. They're up 14-9 on Kansas City, who most consider a Super Bowl favorite. Malik is playing a heck of a game tonight. And so that's what you get for my segment here. And we're on to Ritchie Longshot's picks.
Well, we do have to comment.
Thanks, Chad.
What a studio! Look at Chad Hassan's studio here behind him. This is around the horn. Why don't you take us around?
I got one for you. I just got one for you. So these are all cigar boxes of cigars, Liberty Series cigars that are special and for a special occasion. Oh man, I hope that wasn't the right one. So I'll show you 2 for tonight. I got to dig. Oh gosh, I got to dig this one out from underneath. All right, I got 2 I want to show you tonight.
Out.
First one is Liberty. This is from last night. Liberty, Arkansas. Liberty 21, Arkansas 19. Beautiful, momentous cigar. The other one is Malik, drafted 86th overall to the Titans. So that's kind of what we got. One signed by Hugh Freeze. One is a BYU cigar, and then everything else kind of got my diploma up there. Got a helmet signed by Rashad Jennings, right there. And this jersey up here, we're going to take guesses of who this jersey that is later on in the year. So that's all we got.
All right, let's get to some picks. All right, so here's how this is going to roll this season here. Me, Longshots, Chad, and John make picks. The Reverend, we didn't feel comfortable with him making picks. Feel like that might be frowned upon in some circles. So,
Still a Baptist school, I think, at heart.
Yeah. So, but here's our picks. We're just gonna run through these each week. We're gonna do this, and I think the most fun out of this will be the year to date to kind of see which one of us are the biggest idiots. It'll probably be me. I act like I know everything, and I will do terrible in this. But this will be the Kin Palm spreads because. College basketball, if you don't know, they don't put their lines out in advance of more than like 24 hours. So this is just the Kin Palm spread. So a little bit different than what Vegas says. Before we get into this, Ritchie, I do have to ask you, what is your college basketball betting philosophy?
So good question. So to start off the year, there's so many games right now. I was looking at just to start like the top 25. There's not a single game featuring a top 25 team that's got a single digit spread. Tomorrow the opening game spreads, it's up to 39 now. Like that is so many points, and that is so difficult to handicap when you are thinking, how much are these teams going to be trying in the final 10 minutes of the game? Is it going to be walk-on season, or the walk-ons going to try to be heroes and try to score, play hero ball, score points at the end? So I very much stay away from those games at the beginning of the year. Like I went in and when I looked at all Division I, I was looking at, all right, what are some of these single digit games featuring, a mid-major against a mid-major that are going to be able to be handicapped and get a read on them. I'm also looking beginning of the year, and you guys brought this up earlier, we don't really have a tune-up game before Alabama. And I'm sure I'm going to have a bunch of people in my mentions again, like, you didn't pick Liberty, and people tweeting at a sea of red, like, can you believe this person didn't pick Liberty? Like, yeah, this is what I'm here. You bet the number, not the team. So I think that I look for teams that are they treating this big game as a tune-up game, or is this their, big shot to pour it on it and put the team, kind of see what kind of team they have. So that's why it kind of worries me with the Alabama game. They have a ton of talent. I think last year they were ranked. They're ranked right now to start the season, right?
Yeah, I think they're 20th.
So I think it's going to be a tall task. We don't have that tune-up game. So during the season, I like teams that score points. It's fun to watch. I'm looking at points per possession. I'm looking at teams that shoot free throws well, as that is such a crucial part in college basketball that, I won't look at a team that is shooting poorly from the free throw line, because you get that late game situations. It's like college kickers all over again. And those who have been, following me on the football pod have known that I'm just getting destroyed by college kickers week in and week out, and free throw percentages, a key stat that I'm looking at. Is it a senior, junior led team that's going to step up? And I value that, especially, it's something at the beginning of the year, players that are returning. When I did the picks for the graphic that you had up, I really looked at how much has returned from the year before, because I think that that's a big part. With the transfer portal and the way that is really shaped and taken over college athletics, I really value that cohesive unit and teams playing together and having that chemistry on the court.
Ritchie Longshots at 8:30 a.m. digging through Coppin State's roster to see how senior laden they are. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to run through these more rapid fire. Chad, if at any point you want to jump in, do it. We'll run through these. So the first game of the college basketball season tomorrow, Mississippi Valley State at Baylor. Kin Palm has it plus 38. I think it's actually up to plus 39 now.
And real quick, Nick, the over-under, because that's a standalone game. Noon tomorrow. I'll be watching.
You have to bet on it.
Yeah, it's a must bet.
Even if it's like $1, you have to put something on this. Yeah.
Oh, the over-under was at 142. So that's was an interesting to look at. I'd be more apt to bet these games. Ooh, Tennessee interception. I'd be more apt to bet over-unders in the beginning of the year than I would point spreads. So sorry, I just interrupted everything.
I'm going with my heart on this. I have to do Mississippi Valley. win or lose, I want to start my season with the Delta, whatever they are.
The Delta Devils.
The Delta Devils. You have
Yeah.
to, you know what? Win or lose, you're riding with that. All right.
Yeah.
We're going to do a lot of ASUN games, as you'll see kind of through this. Jacksonville at Duke, minus 19. I like this line. I think it's fun. I'm going Duke. You're going Jacksonville, right? Right, long shots?
Yeah, I hate Duke.
Okay.
Loaf.
All right.
Loaf.
North Florida at Gonzaga, minus 28. Everyone except for John. John went with North Florida. I don't see any way North Florida. I think this is an absolute blowout.
Hey, Nick, let me go back to the last game. John Shire's first game at Duke, and he learned from the greatest of all time at covering and Coach K. There's no way he pulls any players off the court unless his team is up 35. John Shire will cover in his first game as head coach at Duke.
Yeah, I like that. And, they're going to want to put on a show, too. They're going to want to put on a show for sure. All right, we got Queen's first game in Division I. We all like Marshall. Queens is hosting, which is kind of cool. Long shots. Why did you go with Queens?
Very simple. They got their coach is going to be out for the first 5 games, and I love when you get an interim and an assistant coach in a situation like this. Like, they're going to show up. I'm going to assume that the Queens Arena, whatever it's called, is going to be rocking. It's their first D1 game. Yeah, I'm just going off the fact that you got an assistant coach there, and they're when I was looking up, a senior-led team. They went on a run in the D2 tournament last year, and bringing a lot of the same guys back. They didn't really get hampered by the transfer portal at all. But I think home game, they're +1. Yeah, Hungry Dog runs faster. Home dogs, give me that all day.
Little Liberty BYU home cooking there.
Yeah.
I just don't think we're going to sneak up on anyone. So I don't know. I'm interested. Definitely. That's definitely maybe one of the most interesting games of the entire day tomorrow for sure. All right. John was the only one who liked USC minus 19 hosting Florida Gulf Coast. I think they still have like that series going on from when USC stole the coach. I guessing that's what that's a part of. I'm drinking the FGCU Kool-Aid after everything I've heard. Probably, gonna get bid on that, but yeah, I like FGCU. Any thoughts on that, fellas? No.
A lot of points.
All right,
a lot of points.
All right, Bellarmine.
I would love to. Isn't this is the USC coach still the former Dunk City coach that was at FGCU that took them to the tournament? I believe it is. So this is a matchup of he's coaching against his old school that he made the run in the tournament with, and he wants to show them he made the right move and went to USC however many years ago.
Yeah, Andy Enfield, and now Florida Gulf Coast is on their 6th coach since then.
And I want to bring Longshots just said Queens, whatever their court is named. Their arena is actually the Curry Arena. They're in Charlotte. The Curry family donated a bunch of money, and if I'm not mistaken, Dale Layer, a former coach at Liberty, was a coach at Queens College, and they named the court after Dale Layer. So it's Dale Layer Court at Curry Arena, which is or Curry Coliseum or whatever they call it. But it's the Currys and the Layers, somebody we're really familiar with down there at Queens, and so I thought that was pretty interesting with the Queens game.
I was getting ready to bring that up, Chad. Where is Nick? You probably know better than anybody. Where's Dale Layer at now? Is he in the G League?
No, he's still with
Buzz. He's still with Buzz at Texas
A&M.
A&M. Yeah.
Well, man, I mean, we need to get Texas A&M in Liberty Arena. I mean, Dale's got the hookup to get the schedule going.
After all the me tweeted about him, he's never coming back.
All right, let's move on to Bellarmine, Louisville. I originally said I think Bellarmine's going to be massively overrated this year, and I still think they are. But then Louisville lost to a Division 7 school, and I'm like, there's no way I'm taking Louisville. Is that kind of, Chad, was that your thoughts on this? There's no way I could take these guys to cover anything right now?
John and I both took Louisville, and that is because Matt Bellarmine is going to be massively overrated. Their coach, honestly, he's going to lose the program very soon if they're not continuing to win. I just don't see it. Like, they lost Penn, the guy who killed us in the tournament. He transferred. He's not a player's coach, in my opinion. And, Louisville, it's a hometown rivalry. It's not like they're sneaking up on anybody. I think that Bellarmine plays in the old Louisville arena. This is one of those things. They're gonna like, hey, this is our town. No chance Louisville doesn't win this by 20 or more. This is my favorite pick of the entire board is Louisville -13.
Ooh. I think I'm actually gonna put real money on Bellarmine. So, all right, well we're on it. This will be a fun one to watch. All right, Lipscomb at South Dakota. Chad, we'll just let you were riding with the Bison +5.
Here's the and Nick alluded to it earlier. Anything that Nick guy said, and he's so smart that if I just like expound on that just a little bit, that I'm doing okay. And I think the reason I went with Lipscomb is Asana Sajala. I mean, whenever you have a guy like that, if he's healthy and he's playing well, I mean, he can absolutely work over a team that is not built to stop a big man like that. So it just has to be the right time, the right place, the right pace of play, and he has to actually be on his game. And I like it against South Dakota. I'm thinking that they will not see a big man like that on their entire schedule, and so I think he can really have a big game. And I'm looking for Lipscomb, and Lenny Acuff down there is their head coach. He's not a bad coach. I'm not sure he's a great recruiter, and I don't know if he gets all the head coach Hugh Freeze promotional activities of a head coach. But as far as X's and O's, Lenny Acuff is going to have his squad ready to go and prepared, and they're a well-coached team from that perspective. Asana Sajala goes off, and they win that game outright. I don't need the 5 points. Give me the money line. Lipscomb.
Come on. Well, I know where Kirby's at with Asajala, that he's overrated. But I do think with a team like South Dakota, I mean, he kind of changes the way your offense runs. And he's 38 years old. So he's the same age as we are.
Yeah, you got a little bit there. But you bring up a good point is that, like, here's the thing with Lipscomb being overrated. On the long haul in the season, yes, I'm not on them winning the A-Sun or anything like that. But for one game, whenever they've been prepping for it, the entire off season, they've been looking forward to this game. Any one game at a time, I think Lipscomb can be one of the best teams in the A-Sun. Now, over the long haul, no, they're too inconsistent and they don't have enough playmakers. But when Asana Sajala is on, and I believe he will be, they can beat just about anybody in the A-Sun on any given night. So I'm not as down on them as you are. Over the long haul, yes, I am. But for one game, give me them money line, and we'll ride.
All right. Vermont.
Real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Nick. I just looked it up. South Dakota's opening up tomorrow against Wisconsin. So they're jumping in, like, they are not having a tune-up game. They're jumping in with a big game. So I may bet real money on South Dakota looking at that. And I didn't see Lipscomb. I think that's their opener. Don't quote me on that. But it's interesting to see, South Dakota, they're opening up big dog, playing a Big Ten team. So
long
keep my eye on that one.
Long shots. Let's not bet any real money. Just DM me. We'll come up with something we can do for the podcast next week on a bet for this game.
Little gentleman's wager. I'm in.
And that is South Dakota. That is Lipscomb's first game of the year against South Dakota. Yeah, that's rough. All right, Vermont St. Mary's long shots. You are the only one who is anti-Dylan Penn. Actually, I think he might be out. He did transfer to Vermont. I think he might be out for this one. Man, Vermont, how are you not going with Vermont getting 9 points? Such a quality program that every single year is such a top school. Tell me why you're going St. Mary's -9.
I wish I had a long, in-depth breakdown of everything, but it's real similar to when I would be in any of the Old Testament classes. any of the New Testament, Caesar. It was just kind of like looking at the person next to me. What do you got? Were you interested in anything like that? Did you get that did you get a Pilot Travel Center? No. Do you like it? No. It's like a little Britney Spears mic. No, I had it at the house. I'll text you the story, Kyle. But no, I have no read for Vermont or St. Mary's. I got nothing. Sorry.
It was a fantastic comment. All right, and now tell us, why do you hate Liberty?
Why do I? Nick,
You're the only...
Nick, I got to say something on this one. Look, I'm with Longshots here, and he's the only professional that will go with the numbers, not the team. We all see that Liberty logo and think that we have the inside track, but 12 points to an ASUN team versus a top 20 team in the country who has been playing really well. If my heart wasn't involved, I would probably take Alabama as well, but my heart is involved, and I do feel like I have an inside track on this team and how and Darius can go for 50. So a shout out to Ritchie Longshots for being the consummate professional here and playing the numbers and not the team, and going Alabama -12. But yes, why do you hate Liberty, Ritchie?
Why do I hate Liberty? Good question. I had people ask me, like, are you even an alumni? Like, a whole debacle the last 24 hours have been. No, I just think that they're going to be able to defend Darius. They have the size. And again, we don't get a tune-up game. We are playing Regent. Gun to my head, I couldn't even tell you what state that's in. So I think it's just going to be tough. You said you're right. Ritchie McKay is going to be, shuffling through the lineup, and it's going to be tough to go from playing Little Sisters of the Poor to Alabama. I hope I'm wrong. Like, I'm not actively sitting here rooting against Liberty. Like, I'm not going to bet the game. But if you make me pick one, when I saw that, I went, you got to be kidding me. Like, terrible timing to be the one Alabama. And someone's gonna take a screenshot of it and tweet it if we cover on Friday. And it is what it is. But no,
here's the things that Liberty has going for it. One is we lost 2 staff members, the strength coach Henry Barrera and the SID Stephen Gonzalez. Both are at Alabama now, so I don't think that it's it's a little extra added motivation, and we're not kind of looking at them as like, oh, we can't beat them. And then I think like you said, we're playing Regent. The thing that gives Alabama maybe an advantage here, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but Ritchie plays like 10 or 11 guys all the way up until conference play, and then we whittle it back to our best 8. So I think he's going to give everybody an opportunity, even if they're not in our top 8. Everybody will have an opportunity to play at Alabama. That doesn't really bode well for us. If this was conference tournament time or NCAAs, we would only be playing our top 7, 8 guys, and I think we would have a better chance at covering the spread. So the fact that we're still figuring out our rotation is another point for Alabama.
All right, I got an actual stat for you here, why I think you should go with Liberty. Since 2018, Liberty as an underdog against the spread, 13-7. As a favorite, I lost it, but they're like 23-26. So one thing that Liberty under Ritchie McKay has been able to prove is that when they are an underdog, they're more often than not going to cover the spread. I think that hurts the other way. We've talked about it before with some of like the computer rankings. When Liberty isn't able to cover these massive spreads of 25 points against, some of the Grambling State type teams that they're going to play. But all right, I'm interested in that. All right, 2 more games. Michigan State versus Gonzaga. This is a neutral site game. Chad, you are the only one going against the trend. Taking Sparty.
Yeah, I've made a lot of money. Well, not a lot of money. I only bet here and there, minor dollars. But I've had some success with Michigan State opening the year. I don't know if you guys remember when they used to do the games on the ships. You guys remember that, where they would have Michigan State.
UNC Michigan State was one of them.
That's right. And Michigan State was crappy that year. They ended up having a terrible season, but I believe that they beat or covered at least against UNC, who ended up national title that year. And it's just been like that every single year opening up. Tom Izzo has the guys ready to go. They feel like they always start, especially now in COVID. They're going to have so many COVID seniors or COVID year guys. Like they're just always the older team. They're always the more mature team. They're always they have more fight. Draymond Green is a good example of what that program represents, just in terms of just being a dog on the court. And that kind of hits people in the face to open your season with. Gonzaga, I feel like that they play better with a lather. Like they have to build into their season. They have to let guys step up. Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? It doesn't matter with Michigan State. They just throw guys out there. You don't even really have to have your last name on the back of your jersey. You go out there, you have Michigan State on the front. You're playing a certain style of basketball, whereas Gonzaga's got to figure out, like Mark Few's got to say, all right, we're going to play through our big guy. We're going to shoot threes. We're going to run this type. Like, no, at Michigan State, you know what you're doing. You know why you're there. You're going to have 7 or 8 guys that can go. Tom Izzo is the man, and they just always start at the beginning of the season. Honestly, when I picked this, I thought like 4 years in a row I've bet Michigan State opening the season, and it's always seems to pay off. So here we go. Look up that screen. Draymond Green is he is, man. He is. Draymond Green, he's not my favorite NBA player, and he did punch his teammate here a couple of months ago, but he is like, pretty much like he's nondescript out there on the court. You're always looking at Steph and Clay and everybody else. You're not really looking at him. Same thing with Michigan State. Like they don't have any star players. Their last star player was Mateen Cleaves back when I was in high school. So they don't have a star player. They just have some dudes out there, and they're going to win outright. Don't need the points. Give me the money line. Michigan State's going to beat Gonzaga. So anybody else want some action on that? DM me, Ritchie Longshots. We're going to have you on here doing the podcast without a shirt next week. So that's just kind of how this is going to go.
Beautiful. Kennesaw State at Florida. Florida 18-point favorites. I love Kennesaw. Kennesaw is an older team at this point. Florida has a first-year head coach. Florida has many times in years past laid eggs. I think Kennesaw could actually make this a game, not just cover that 18. I'm not going to say they're going to win, but if Kennesaw's down 5 points with a couple minutes left, I wouldn't be stunned. Any other thoughts on this big matchup Friday night?
Yeah, this was a big. I looked at returning production, and I went to like Florida basketball blogs, and they didn't seem very excited about this season. So they're not drinking the Gatorade, which actually plays. They're not drinking the Gatorade for football this season. I also got a coworker that went to Kennesaw State. So when it's this early in the season,
is this the same Kennesaw State that I've seen come into the Liberty Arena 3 years in a row here and just get absolutely waxed? Like Liberty could cover this spread by 18 tomorrow. I mean, they do have some players coming back, but it's acting like they're not the same guys. These are the same guys that were sophomores that were just getting waxed last year. Just because they're juniors doesn't make them better scorers, better passers, better dribblers. It's still Kennesaw State. Yes, they're the super sexy pick this year. They're a program on the rise. Them and Queens, honestly, I'm kind of confused about why we're so hype on these guys. It's like, who did they get? Who did they get? What transfer did they get? What freshmen do they have? It's the same players that just got whipped last year. I don't understand what's the difference. Just because they're a year older, does that make them go from being a 30-point underdog to Liberty to covering and possibly beating Florida?
Chad, who hurt you from Kennesaw State?
And Chad,
I've been in 3 straight years, including COVID year, and watched us just absolutely destroy. I leave at halftime every time Kennesaw State comes down. I don't understand. Everybody's so high on Kennesaw State. Is that because these freshmen were supposed to be so good? Yeah, they were supposed to be so good. Their game didn't translate, and they were garbage last year. It's just because they're juniors this year, everybody's like, oh, watch out for Kennesaw State. It's still the same dudes. They're still wearing the same number. They're still playing the same game.
Chet, they scored 93 points at Liberty Arena last year. Where were you at the end of February?
I don't back anything up. Don't fact check me. Don't fact check me. See?
It was like that crazy overtime game that, like, really Liberty probably shouldn't have won. They've just got waxed every time they've come here.
Don't fact check. Arkansas State stinks, and they're going to lose to Florida by more than 18.
Oh, well, that's the picks. We'll see what we're totaling up here next week. I'm excited about that. Maybe we'll try to shorten this segment down just a little bit, so it doesn't go like an hour. I don't know. Maybe I'll just do it. I enjoyed it, but I don't know if the people will. So, Chad, Ritchie, it was a pleasure. We'll do some final thoughts here with Will. Thanks, guys. Will.
That was wild.
Welcome to the Ritchie Longshots experience. I'm glad that you were here for that. Will, let's give us some final thoughts here as we are nearing the start of the season.
Man, I sat with Ritchie Longshots at the Wake Forest football game, and he was tame tonight. Yeah, I'm still man, it's just a fun time of the year because we got football season going on. We got the opening of basketball season, and it's this like weird transition for all of us Flames fans because we're not ready to let go of football because we're doing so good, and there's still a lot of football to be played, but yet man, our basketball team is so good as well and has been for the last few years. So just looking forward to starting off another season and continuing Liberty dominance across the board.
Yeah, well said. Man, this was a lot of fun tonight. I really enjoyed it. And man, I'm so excited for the start of the season. Thank you so much to all of our guests that came on tonight. Really cool to have them embracing the show, and hopefully we can have a fun time this year covering Liberty basketball and seeing where we go. The plans for the show probably look to do it on Sunday nights as much as possible out the season. Not every Sunday night, but as much as we can. And as the season progresses, seeing how things pan out when there's big wins or big losses, we'll try to have some content on that. So again, thanks to everyone with A Sea of Red. Thanks to Chad, who's been behind the scenes all night helping produce the show. He's been killing it. Love that backdrop. Thanks to John for trusting us with the mic. Maybe a mistake, but we do appreciate it. We are really excited to be doing this season. If you haven't, make sure you have subscribed to Sea of Red YouTube channel. That's where you can see all the live shows. John and Chad have been doing an awesome job posting press conferences from Hugh Freeze and Ritchie McKay. So make sure you subscribe and so you'll get those alerts sent to you. And then make sure you're also following the Sea of Red on Twitter and Facebook. All the live shows are put up on there. And then it's also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So make sure you are leaving 5 stars, positive reviews as A Sea of Red continues to grow the Liberty brand. So for Will, I'm Nick. Thanks for joining us tonight. Have a great night.